I'm going to trust you to self-mark because you can't pass your papers over between Swindon and Leeds. So, So first question, which was which player scored a grand final hat-trick this weekend? Tim, who did you have?
I went for Rachel Thompson.
Correct. Alan, did you...
Not the Rachel Thompson who works in my company's HR department.
Of course. Which was a constant cause of confusion every time a name was announced on Saturday. Alan?
No, this is how honest I am. I've completely missed a name, so I didn't get that one.
We only just talked about her half an hour ago.
I know, but I'm sorry.
Thompson for England. Okay. The treble, let's see if you redeem yourself here. The treble of Challenge Cup winners, league leaders and Super League champions has been achieved 3 times in the Super League era. 2003, 2006 and 2015. So, who won it in 2003, Alan?
It was Bradford Bulls won it in 2003.
And 2006?
St Helens.
And 2015?
It was Leeds.
Tim,
all 3 of those, yeah.
Yeah. See, I told you.
Good.
Okay, so question 3. Tim, who did Leeds beat to win the League Leaders' Shield as part of their treble that season? It was the last game of the regular season. That the helicopter was in the air between Wigan and this town.
Was it Huddersfield?
It was Huddersfield. Alan, how did you get on with this one?
Yeah, Huddersfield. Ryan Hall celebrating as he was charging down the ring, down the wing.
Yeah, absolutely iconic image, wasn't it? That one. Okay.
Charging down the ring sounds like a fantasy of certain people's.
People who may or may not have
people who may or may not be teenage cancer doctors, yeah,
and may or may not have a shower curtain with just a topless picture of Ryan Hall.
Oh, man.
So Saturday was Sean Wayne's 3rd Super League Grand Final win, all 3 coming against Warrington. So I asked you who the 3 players were who've played in all 3 of those winning grand finals for Sean Wayne's Wigan side. So, Tim, who did you get?
Liam Farrell.
Yep.
Ben Flower.
Yep.
Sean O'Loughlin.
Yep.
Now, full disclosure, I got those 3, but I got Farrell literally as just before Tim read it out. I had Luluwai, but then I crossed it out and I put Farrell. So I'm going to claim a half mark.
No, I'll give you the full marks. That's okay.
All right, okay.
Because Tim's still ahead.
Yeah, he is. He's going to win this unless I've been really sporting with this last one.
Well, if we get a tie, we could go for a tiebreaker on this one, actually. But, Alan, how many times did you pick for Wigan winning the treble between 1985 and 1995?
See, I could think of some instances where other teams have picked particularly Challenge Cups early on. So I've gone for 4 times they did it.
Tim?
I said twice.
Split the difference. It was 3 times.
There you go.
It was rugby league trebles after all.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Very
91, 92, 92, 93, and 94, 95. So neither of you got that one. So let's just tally these up. Tim scored 8 and Alan scored 7. Ooh.
Yeah.
Let us know how you did at home. Well done, Tim.
Well done, Tim. Yeah. Well done.
Not often I win one of these.
Well done for listening and recalling names.
Well, that's the difference maker. The easiest question.
Oh, jeez. I'm diabolical with name recollection, but anyway.
Well, as am I, as I showed earlier on when I interviewed Sean, or should I say Tom, or should I say Sean? SLP recommends then. Let's do it alphabetically. Let's start with Alan. Do you have anything for us this week from your time in Manchester?
My recommendation is if you want to go to your favourite vegan place, make sure you book a table before you turn up. That's my recommendation. No, I don't really have anything. I'm afraid.
That's fine. Timothy?
Yeah, I've got a couple, and they are Manchester based, which is good because the my normal geographic distribution across country. I've got two from Sunday. First one would be a place called, I went for breakfast, which is called Leaf, which is a tea shop. That's down Portland Street.
Shocking.
It was just right opposite my hotel. It was the nearest place as well. The nearest place for breakfast, other than the slightly dubious Weatherspoons round the back. It was the nearest place to the hotel, and they had an actual tea menu. So I was in a world of love. Had a brilliant sausage sandwich and some pancakes in there.
All that tea going on.
Oh well, I went in the afternoon. So we'll come on to what I did later in the day.
Hot tea or cold tea? What did you go for?
Hot tea. They had a selection of cold and iced teas as well. So they also had their own teas that you could buy, their own blends. So I did purchase some wild cherry tea, which I had at work this morning, and that was really nice. It's quite dark, it's quite smoky, but it's nice. It's a bit like the sort of smell of cherry pipe tobacco.
No, but I'll just say yeah to make it.
If you've ever known anyone who smokes pipes, that cherry tobacco is quite popular, or certainly it was amongst my friends who smoked, or my friend who smoked a pipe. He actually had a pipe for each of his middle names, but we could talk about Richard another day. He's a bizarre character, dressed like an Edwardian gentleman for 4 years at university. It was really nice, really nice place, brilliant service, and the food was absolutely amazing. So I had a very nice sausage sandwich, and then also these pancakes with berry compote and some creme fraiche. It was a brilliant breakfast to set me up. Then I ventured on and went to, I don't know if you followed them on Twitter, a thing called the Bands FC.
Yes.
So they are a group of, I think there's sort of designers who take band logos and football team logos, put them together and make a logo that looks like a football team crest for lots of bands, covering so many of my different interests, all in one go. But they have an exhibition on at the moment at the National Football Museum over by the Arndale Centre. So I walked up to that, went around the rest of the museum, saw the fantasy football couch, amongst other things, listened to Brentford reporter Billy Reeves, who's in the sound archive, which was quite cool. So someone who also, fun fact, it was the impresario behind the band The Audience, indie band from the 90s. If you know,
fact.
Which was
you say fun fact, I say obscure piece of information that I
which was Sophie Ellis
retain.
Bextor's. It was Sophie Ellis Bextor's first band. If it wasn't for The Audience, we never would have had Sophie Ellis Bextor.
Well, I think more if it wasn't for Sophie Ellis Bextor's parents, we wouldn't have had Sophie Ellis Bextor, but you know.
Yeah, well, she wouldn't have. Yeah, okay. But yeah, the Bands at FC exhibition, they've got brilliant, huge displays of all the artwork, and you can buy prints, postcards, or little tiny badges. So I bought a Blue Tones badge. Because they did the Band of the Bees, they reimagined them as a direct copy of the current Brentford crest. So I bought a few of those. I quite liked the Bees at the time, but obviously the badge is very similar. So bought that. Got a few postcards. I'm going to hope to frame a few of them as well and put them up around the house.
Sounds really cool. I'd not heard of that, but that does sound really cool.
And the football museum was quite a good way to spend a couple of hours as well, especially good for kids. There was some interactive stuff that kids could play on as well.
Yeah, I'd only ever been to the football museum in its first life in Preston, next to Deepdale, next to the Preston North Ends ground, but I haven't been since it's been in Manchester. But that sounds really cool. My recommends. I've talked before about how I get a beer subscription, and this month's beer subscription box is themed around the Balkans, which I'd never really thought of as a brewing area, but you know, everyone.
Well, if we get Red Star Belgrade in the cup next year, we could all find out.
Yeah, well, everyone with a neatly combed beard now makes their own beer, don't they? So. So you know, I'm sure there's
mine isn't neatly combed, so I don't. Yeah.
But yeah, so one of the breweries that's popped up in this month's box is a Croatian brewery from Zagreb, who are called the Garden Brewery. And I just had before, whilst we were recording, a citrus IPA. I had a couple of other beers of theirs yesterday as well whilst I was watching the NFL. And I tell you what, very, very impressive. Very, very nice beer. So if you can... Oh, it's 7.2%. So if you can get hold of that anywhere, the Garden Brewery beers, then I would recommend them. They're great. I'm going to keep an eye out to see if we see them in any of the little sort of niche beer shops along the way. But yeah, Balkans craft beer. Big shout out to the Balkans craft.
If one of them would like to sponsor Red Star Belgrade in the rugby league, that would be brilliant as well.
Yeah, and if they want to tie it in with trying to get people from this country supporting them, so send over free beers, then
yeah, send some to Swindon.
Yeah, exactly, and Kirkham. Okay, so that's this show done. There's one other thing I wanted to sort of talk about, which kind of slows the tone down a little bit before we just wind up the end of the show, and that's I want to talk a little about something more personal. And people who've listened to the show a long time will know that I talk a lot about my uncle Liam, who is the reason why I go to rugby league. He's the man in the family who started a love affair of rugby league. He's the person who takes me all over the north of the country every weekend for 10 months of the year. And today he had a stroke this morning. He got to hospital very quickly and seems to be making positive steps all the way through the day. But I just want to sort of say, that this show wouldn't exist without my Uncle Liam. So
as we said on Saturday afternoon, as we were wandering down a random alley trying to find a way out, we said we all turned around and blamed you because it was your fault, but really it wasn't your fault at all. It was Liam's fault. So all the best, but it is definitely your fault.
Well, yeah. So I just, all the best to my Uncle Liam as he gets well. He won't listen to this, but he might. He's going to have some time on his hands now. That is, he won't be working. He'll be recovering. So yeah.
Get well soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, what's coming up next for Super League Pod is it's awards season still. Get your votes in for the Sloppies and the Dream Team. Get your audio reviews in. Get in touch if you want to represent your side for the season review episodes. The season review and award shows, they'll come in the first week of November once I'm back from my holidays. You can make donations to the show if you want to support us through the off-season as our costs go on, through the off-season for our hosting fees and a few things like that. PayPal.me/Super League Pod is where you can go to make your donations. That link will be on the blog post as well that I'll put up. And any donations are greatly appreciated. If you've already donated, I would say please don't donate again. You've given me enough of your money. But anyone who hasn't donated yet and has enjoyed the show all year, please do show your gratitude to me and the rest of the team by giving us a donation. It helps sort of pay the cost that we do incur dealing with the show and trying to give you the product that we want to give to you. People can find the show at Super League Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Do check out our Instagram. We all threw up a few bits over the weekend from the Women's Grand Final in particular, then from the Grand Final as well. I put a few pictures on there from the promotion relegation playoff as well, because I think it wasn't in the end broadcast on our league, so check that out. Facebook.com/Super League Pod. Please do like and share us on there. The more people who go on there and like and share and send us comments and stuff like that, the more you interact with us on Facebook, the more we'll reciprocate by putting stuff on the Facebook page is all I can say. superleaguepod@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. That's what you should use as well to send in your audio reviews of your side's season. Superleaguepod.com is where you'll find the blog. That'll have a post up for this show giving you all the details. There'll be a post on there as well with all the links you need and all the information you need for the end of season awards shows. Search for the show on Spreaker, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Leaguecast, which are the same thing, Leaguecast Android app, Podcast Addict app, rugbyleaguemedia.com and YouTube, where it is of course audio only. And that's a wrap on this season really, until we speak at our awards showtime. Thank you, Alan and Tim, both for joining me for this look back on one of the greatest days in rugby league. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have.
Probably not. I don't think many people have enjoyed it as much as you have. But no, it has been good.
Yeah, no, it's been really good.